exactly 30 minutes to start.
I know.
Too long.
Yes. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
والمرسلات عرفا فالعاصفات عصفا والناشرات نشرا فالفارقات فرقا فالملقيات ذكرا عذرا أو نذرا إنما توعدون لواقع فإذا النجوم طمست وإذا السماء فرجت وإذا الجبال نسفت
Let's recite from here. Repeat after me, please.
Mute yourself.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
والمرسلات عرفا
والمرسلات عرفا
فالعاصفات عصفا
فالعاصفات عصفا
والناشرات نشرا
والناشرات نشرا
فالفارقات فرقا
فالفارقات فرقا
فالملقيات ذكرا
فالملقيات ذكرا
عذرا أو نذرا
عذرا أو نذرا
عذرا أو نذرا
عذرا أو نذرا
إنما توعدون لواقع
إنما توعدون لواقع
فإذا النجوم طمست
فإذا النجوم طمست.
I mentioned the غنة here. فإذا النجوم طمست
فإذا
النجوم طمست
وإذا السماء فرجت
وإذا السماء فرجت
وإذا الجبال نسفت
وإذا الجبال نسفت
وإذا الجبال نسفت
وإذا الجبال نسفت.
Try to imitate exactly Amjad Bhai. وإذا الجبال نسفت
وإذا الجبال نسفت.
Now we can go to word meaning.
وإذا الجبال نسفت
وإذا الجبال نسفت
وإذا الجبال نسفت.
Who is repeating? YouTube?
YouTube, yeah, it was. Right, I'll share now. Here you are. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Can you enlarge the screen, Dr. Maruf, to be, or it should come from us?
No, I think, wait a minute. I think I'd like to increase the token. I'll stop sharing first. View full screen. Okay, now I'll share. Is it okay now or not yet?
Yes,
Same,
better.
no change.
I think I'll have to get this also to the. Okay now?
Yes, yes, better. Good.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal mursalati ghurfa. By the winds that were sent forth one after another. So this is Allah again. We are back into the time about occurrence of at the time of the hereafter, what is being done. And so it is, so the first ayah is that he sends the winds, wal asifati asfa, they are not only winds, they blow very violently. So it is effectively, you can feel the wind blowing violently. وَالنَّاشِرَاتِ نَشْرًا, and the winds that scatter, you know, it's so violently, it scatters everything around, and clouds and rain and far and wide. So it's a sort of a expression of one simple thing of wind, but the wind itself is so powerful, so effective. The next one is wal fariqati farqa. Now these verses separate the right from the wrong, okay, by the criterion. So in other words, it's separating them. Fal mulkiyati dhikra, and by the angels that bring the revelation to the messenger. So reminding the messenger. So this is the fariqat is the various ayahs that have been verses that have been ayah. Verses is a wrong thing, but ayahs that have been brought by the angels. And uduran or nudura, and these verses are excuses to warn. It is to against innama tu'aduna lawaqi', and you promise what surely will come to pass. فَإِذَا النُّجُومَ تُمِسَتْ, and when the star loses its light, it got wiped out, there are no stars anymore. So things are changing. Allah brings the verses into this because just to remind, and this is the time at which this all happens, okay. And lastly, فَإِذَا نُجُمَتْ تُمِسَتْ وَإِذَا السَّمَاءِ فُرِجَتْ, when the sky heaven is broken into two or cleft into two, وَإِذَا جِبَالُ Nusifat is mountains are blown away. So there are phenomenons that are happening, and Allah in the middle of it, He also mentions that the words that have come to us also begin to separate by criterion and just stand out in your minds. One is in your minds, the other is in your presence, what is around you. And that's the last one, isn't it?
Yes.
Jibal Sifat. Okay. So we will read back, go back, and I'll close my thing. Jazakallah khair.
We need to recite. Shall I open the colored one, or you open the?
I can open the colored one, the same thing. It's already.
Because the meaning, you need the meaning.
I know. Okay.
Okay. Shall we start with gentlemen today, or continue as
Continue as before. The ladies first.
Dr. Salima?
Dr. Salima is muted.
Muted. You are muted.
Unmute yourself, please.
Okay.
Yes.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والمرسلات عرفا
والمرسلات عرفا
والمرسلات عرفا.
Excellent.
By the months set forth, one after another. Is this emissaries or winds? I don't know, because in my it said emissaries. These are the
Winds. It is winds. You read the screen, then you will see that it is wind.
By the ones set forth, one after another. فالعاصفات عصفا
فالعاصفات عصفا
فالعاصفات عصفا. And the winds that blow violently. وَالنَّاشِرَاتِ نَشْرًا. And the ones that scatter far and wide. فَالْفَارِقَاتِ فَرْقًا. And those who separate farqa by the criterion. فَالْمُلْقِيَاتِ ذِكْرًا. And those who bring down the reminder. عُذْرًا أَوْ نُذْرًا. As justification or warning. إِنَّمَا تُوعَدُونَ لَوَاقِعٌ.
إنما توعدون لواقع.
إِنَّمَا تُوعَدُونَ لَوَاقِعٌ. Indeed, what you are promised, will surely occur. فَإِذَا النُّجُومُ طُمِسَتْ. So when the stars are obliterated. إِذَا النُّجُومُ طُمِسَتْ. وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ فُرِجَتْ. And when the heavens is cleft asunder. فُرِجَتْ. وَإِذَا الْجِبَالُ نُسِفَتْ. and when the mountains are blown away.
Thank you very much. Dr. Shirihan.
السلام عليكم.
Walaikum salam.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والمرسلات عرفا
والمرسلات.
والمرسلات عرفا. والمرسلات is by the winds. عرفا, sent forth one after another. فالعاصفات عصفا. فالعاصفات, and by the winds that blow. عصفا, violently. والناشرات نشرا.
غنى please.
والناشرات نشرا. والناشرات, and by the winds that scatter clouds and rain. نشرا, far and wide. فالفارقات فرقا. فالفارقات, and by the verses that separate the right from the wrong. فرقا, by criterion. فالملقيات ذكرا. فالملقيات is, and by the angels that bring. ذكرا, the revelations to the messengers. عذرا أو نذرا. عذرا, to cut off all excuses. أو نذرا, or to warn. إنما توعدون. إنما توعدون لواقع.
إنما توعدون لواقع.
إنما توعدون لواقع. إنما توعدون, surely what you are promised. لواقع, must come to pass. فإذا النجوم طمست. فإذا, then when. نجوم طمست, the stars are wiped out. وإذا السماء وإذا السماء فرجت. وإذا, and when. السماء فرجت, the heaven is cleft asunder. وإذا الجبال نسفت. وإذا, and when. جبال نسفت, the mountains are blown away.
Thank you. I just wish to mention something. Actually, the translation is very poor, very, very poor. And actually, I advise everyone is willing to taste the Holy Quran and feel the meaning in depth should learn Arabic. It will never give the taste of the Arabic, you know. Here, for example, والناشرات نشرا. الناشرات is the thing that scatters something else. Nashran is not the wind. It's not.
Yeah, it's like relay.
It's not far.
Yes, nashirat is relay.
It means scattering. In Arabic, I can say akalt. I have eaten. I say akalt. When I wish to make sure for the listeners that I got eaten too much, I said akaltu aklan. This in Arabic is just for confirmation of a big action. أكلت أكلا. I say ضربت أمجد by ضربا. I hit it very strongly. ضربته ضربا. I think these expressions are not used in English, so we can't say I have eating. We don't use this sort of confirmation in English. So I'm not happy actually with this translation at all. Anyway, let us.
They have made a good attempt. Well, my comment on that is that they have made an attempt. For example, Nashirat and Nashra, they have said that the winds that scatter, when you scatter, you can just scatter it in front of you. But here, far and wide. That's what you said in the Arabic also. The Arabic also, nashrat, nashran is
yes, exactly. فالعاصفات عصفا العاصفات blow
and not blowing, just blowing violently. And
Yes.
they are mentioned
Going everywhere.
as-
Dr. Maroof,
Yeah.
this Quran is a masterpiece of Arabic literature. Masterpiece.
of course.
Yeah.
No one could produce
Saqib Bhai, what I am
parallel to this. Let me complete, Dr. Maroof, please.
let me finish what
This,
I'm talking in.
the expression here, every expression here,
Saqib Bhai,
masterpiece of Arab literature.
yes, we know.
By just a minute, Dr. Maroof, please. By just learning Arabic.
Dr. Saudi, I am responding to Dr. Saudi. Your talk will come later. But what I am saying is the Arabic cannot be translated is an obvious thing,
Of
but
course,
Yes,
expression
yes, yes.
that comes.
of course.
What
So
we
Dr.
can do-
Saudi's comment
what we
here,
can do- what we can do, Dr. Maroof, is translation of meanings of the broad meaning, and this is fine, and this is
We are beginning to understand this.
but what I said is we can never taste the Quran, except in its original text, which
Correct.
is came from Allah, not from anyone, because even no one can make a similar text in Arabic. It's not
of
only
course,
Even
this is a masterpiece of literature.
yes, yes.
okay.
Yes.
Let's
So it is not an ordinary Arabic.
let's continue the class if you don't mind. Thank you.
And also, Saqib Bhai, you know what nashr means? Like a news spreading everywhere.
Yes, of course.
So
Publishing.
it's like that.
You know,
um,
each and every word of this surah has got such a deep literary piece of literature that you have to spend time on it to understand what it is. Anyway, continue.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has challenged all Arab people
Of course.
to produce one surah, one small surah, even one line of this Quran, they failed.
Yes.
Arab
In kuntum fi raibin mimma nazzalna ala abdihi.
Surah.
Yes.
And Allah wants us to do the dabbur and tafakkur.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's right.
Start reciting.
But the construction of language, it's a masterpiece of literature. Masterpiece.
Of course.
And it's the language of Allah. Nobody can compete. Nobody can come closer.
Can I summarize something, if you don't mind?
Yes,
The
please.
summary is that this is Quranic language of Allah,
Yes.
not only Arabic. It uses Arabic, but uses Arabic so effectively, even the common user of Arabic cannot understand.
Yes.
Cannot challenge.
Correct.
Yes.
Can understand, but cannot bring something similar.
Similar, yeah. Can make something like similar. That's correct one.
Yes.
I
And
accept.
it goes into the heart. That's the magic of Quran.
Yes.
Okay, Sister Farzana, I forgot what is the meaning of sister in Urdu.
Behan,
know,
Farzana.
Farzana
Dr.
Behan.
Saudi,
Yes.
Dr.
Behan
Saudi, you
Farzana.
should realize.
Behan Farzana. First say Behan, then say Farzana.
Behan
See,
Farzana.
this is where Dr. Saudi should realize that how many times he has been told. This is what the other language is, the foreign language is.
Fully
It's not
understood,
easy.
Fully
Yeah.
understood.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
easy
Yes,
to replicate.
fully understood.
Yeah,
Okay, let's start Quran now.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal mursalati urufa. Fal asifati asfa.
No.
Wan nashirati nashra.
Meaning.
Meaning.
Forgotten. Look, gone with the wind.
See,
Okay.
And bring the mention.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
What you're reciting is continuous, is very nice.
Yes. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal mursalati urfa, wa by mursalati, the winds, urfan, sent forth one after another. Fal asifati asfa, fa and asifati, by the winds that blow, asfa, violently. Wan nashirati nashra, wa and nashirati, by the winds that scatter clouds and rain, nashra, far and wide. Fal fariqati farqa, fa and fariqati, by the verses that separate the right from the wrong, farqa, by criterion. Fal mulqiyati zikra, fa and mulqiyati, by the angels that bring zikra, the revelations to the messengers. Uzra aw nuzura.
عذرا أو نذرا.
Yes. Uzran aw nuzura. Uzran, to cut off all excuses. Aw, or nuzura, to warn. Innama tu'aduna lawaqih. Innama, surely.
لواقع, not لواقح, because you know
لواقع. لواقع. لواقع.
something else.
Yeah, very hard.
وأرسلنا, Quran says in another surah, وأرسلنا الرياح لواقح.
لواقع. لواقع.
What is إنما توعدون لواقع.
إنما توعدون لواقع. I can't say, sorry. إنما, surely, توعدون, what you had promised. La must, come to pass. فإذا النجوم طمست, then إذا, when, النجوم, the star, طمست, are wiped out. وإذا السماء فرجت, and إذا, when, السماء, the heaven, فرجت, is cleft asunder. وإذا الجبال نصفت, and إذا, when, الجبال, the mountains, نصفت, are blown away. Okay.
Thank you very much.
But you know, Dr. Saudi, honestly, when we are listening again and again the meanings, we start comprehending what these words mean.
Yes, of course.
You know, we understand them better than the translation in itself.
Repetition is a very good
Yes.
way to
Yes, like you can start seeing in your imagination what these surahs are about and what is happening.
Amjad Bhai.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal mursalati urfa.
Can you bring it one piece? والمرسلات عرفا.
Wal-mursalati urfa. Wal-mursalati, by the winds, urfa, sent forth one after another. Sir, can you make the little big, because it's a very small letter. Zoom.
Can't zoom anymore in this, unfortunately.
This is fine. Okay.
Yeah, I can give him English translated one, Dr. Maruf, if you stop sharing.
Okay.
Fal-asifati asfa.
18 hours.
18 hours.
Fal-asifati, and by the winds that blow, asfa, violent. Wan-nashirati nashra. Wan-nashirati, and by the winds that scatter. What's that?
والناشرات نشرا.
Wan-nashirati nashra. One nashirati, and by the winds that scatter clouds and rain. Nashra, far and wide.
Fal.
Fal farihati farha. Fal farihati, and by the verses that separate the right from the wrong. Farfa, by criterion. Fal mula,
فالملقيات ذكرا.
fal mulqiyati zikra. Because it's very small, I cannot see that. Sorry, I'm sorry. Fal mulqiyati, and by the angels that bring zikra, revelation to the messengers. Uzra aw uz. Uzra aw nuzra.
عذرا أو نذرا.
Uzran aw nuzra. Uzran, to cut off all excuses. Aw nuzran, or to warn. Innama tuwaduna fatihum.
إنما توعدون لواقع.
إنما توعدون لواقع. إنما توعدون, surely what you are promised. Lawaqiya, must come to pass. فَإِذَا النُّجُومُ tumisat. فَإِذَا, then when. النُّجُومُ tumisat, the stars are wiped out. وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ فُرِجَتْ, and when the heaven is cleft asunder.
Split asunder.
Cleft asunder, yes.
Apart.
What is al-jibalu nusifat? What is al-jibalu nusifat? What is and when al-jibalu nusifat? The mountains are blown away. Sadaqallah. Jazakallah.
دكتور معروف.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والمرسلات عرفا فالعاصفات عصفا والناشرات نشرا والفارقات فرقا فالفارقات فرقا فالملقيات ذكرا عذرا أو نذرا إنما توعدون لواقع وإذا النجوم طمست
فإذا النجوم طمست.
وإذا السماء فرجت وإذا الجبال نسفت. صدق الله العظيم.
جزاكم الله خير.
جزاكم الله خير.
Okay. Everybody has taken their turns?
Yeah, Dr. Saudi will read it again once more.
Okay, yes. Sure.
In his English, Doctor.
Yes.
In your English one. With the English translation.
إن شاء الله.
Okay.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والمرسلات عرفا. By the winds that come one after another. فالعاصفات عصفا. The winds that blow violently. وَالنَّاشِرَاتِ نَشْرًا. The wind that scatter the clouds and rains far and wide. فَالْفَارِقَاتِ فَرْقًا. The here I think it is not the winds, it is the angels that come with the verses that discriminate right from wrong. فَالْمُلْقِيَاتِ ذِكْرًا. The angels that bring the revelations to the messengers. عُذْرًا أو نذرا. To cut off all excuses and to warn. إنما توعدون لواقع. Surely what you are promised shall come to occur. فإذا النجوم طمست. Then when the stars are wiped out. وإذا السماء فرجت. And when the heavens are opened or clefted. وإذا الجبال نسفت. And when the mountains are blown away.
Jazakallah khair.
Okay.
Okay. Farzana?
Yes, sure. Okay. So today we have started Surah Al-Mursalat, and this is Surah number 77 in the Quran, and it means those sent forth. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Allah is swearing by different creatures about the occurrence of the hereafter. So we know after reading Quran for some time that Allah is not shy using his own things to swear by them. And then, for example, in ayah number 1, Allah Ta'ala is saying, by the Mursalat, Urfa, by the winds or the angels or the messengers of Allah sent forth one after another. So Dr. Saudi, listen to me when I'm trying to explain and correct me if I go wrong, because
I have received a message from Dr. Henna that she is not able to connect. She has connection problems.
Okay, all right. Okay, so Dr. Saudi, listen to my explanation when I'm trying to put it into words what I'm understanding. By the Mursalat, Urfa, by the winds or the angels or the messengers of Allah sent forth one after another. So in this, Allah is telling, how he has been sending how the wind comes, like it is just continuous thing. It is not like a breeze. You feel it and then it stops and then nothing happens. But when there are strong winds, then it is, like a continuous thing. Like using the word hurricane is not suitable because that is stormy, but we can understand what happens, like, for example, in autumn, the winds are so strong, continuous. So that is how the messengers were sent. It was, Allah Ta'ala has never stopped this thing. And then in ayah number 2, the asifat, asfa, and by the winds that blow violently. So Allah Ta'ala is also swearing by the wind that blows violently, like storm, hurricane. So the hereafter is going to be like that. It is not going to be easy time. Imagine, how we are going to hold ourselves in one place. We can imagine we will be flying everywhere, like you can say, like snowflakes or cotton wool or moths. So we have to imagine what we are reading. And in ayah number 13, and the nashirat, nashra, and by the winds that scatter clouds and rain. So of course, when there are clouds filled with rain or whatever, it's the winds that help them. So this is also a miracle of Allah that, these clouds are scattered everywhere, and it's up to Allah where the rain has to come down from those clouds. And then in ayah number 42, the fariqat, that separate, and by the verses of the Quran that separate the right from the wrong. So now we should never use the word verse. We should only use the word ayah, because verses are in the poetry and Quran is not poetry. It is the word of Allah and Allah is talking to us. So then it is, so the Quran shows us the difference between the good and the bad and the right and the wrong. And then we have to live our lives according to the principles of Allah that He has shown to us in the Quran. There is no difference of opinion here, because the angels are the ones who descend with Allah's command to the messengers, separating between the truth and falsehood, guidance and misguidance, and the lawful and the forbidden. So all the angels that come to the messengers, because the wahi comes through the angels, and we know this is as a Jibreel alayhi salam. So yeah, it is shown to the messengers the truth and the difference between the truth and the falsehood, guidance and misguidance, lawfulness and the forbidden things. So again, these are the instructions that have to be adhered. And then in ayah number 5, and by the angels that bring the revelations to the messengers. So again, Allah Ta'ala is again and again swearing upon one after the other things. So in ayah number 5, he's swearing by the angels. And then in ayah number 6, to cut off all excuses or the warn, they bring the revelations to the messengers which contain exemption or absolvement for the creatures and the warning for them of Allah's torment if they oppose His command. Then in ayah number 6, it is being said that, you know, the forbidden has to be obeyed. It is it is not like just carry on, and then, you know, like not to do this and like whatever people have been doing before the revelations, and they thought they were correct, and once Allah said no more, and that was all wrong, or now this is how you are going to live. So we have to abide all those things. We cannot say that this is how we have been living, this is how we are used to, and this is correct, and we will continue, because that is like we are na'uzubillah saying to Allah, you are wrong. So in ayah number 7, surely what you have promised must come to pass. This is the subject of these oaths. This means what you all have been promised concerning the establishment of the hour, judgment day, the blowing of the horn, the resurrections of the bodies, the gathering of those of old and those of latter times on the common ground, and the rewarding of every doer of a deed based upon his deed. If he did good, then his reward will be good. And if he did evil, then his reward will be evil. All of this will occur, meaning this will come to pass, and there is no avoiding to it. So again, Allah Ta'ala is saying that if we break the rules, He's swearing. It means He's insisting and emphasizing, and He means it, that if you do not obey, then you prepare yourself for the consequences, and that will be a very, very bad day, because there will be no U-turn. We will not be given second chance. Even if we say to Allah, Allah, please let us go back to the world, and we promise we will be very good people, we will not be given that chance. So that is a very, very testing moment, because that's the end of the story that we are creating about ourselves in this world. And then a mention of some of what will occur on the day of judgment. Then Allah says in ayah number 8, then when the stars lose their lights, meaning their light will leave. So of course, everything will start disappearing. The mountains will disappear. The stars will lose their lights. They will just fade away. It's just like our lamps, you know, they are giving lights. And when the oil is finished, there is no light coming from them. So it will be a very dark day as well. It will be dark, it will be wet, it will be windy, it will be tormenting. And then in ayah number 9, and when Fujirat, the heaven, meaning is cleft asunder, become split, its sides fall and its edges become weak. So even this sky that is a permanent feature And from one end to the other, we see even this will just give in and it will drop onto its sides and there will be no sky. And we can't imagine what we are going to see because we are so used to seeing above our heads the sky. So imagine, you know, you are living in a home and the roof disappears, how scary that will be. So in ayah number 10, and when the mountains are blown away, meaning they will be removed and no sight or trace of them will remain. So imagine the mountains that you're seeing, they start disappearing in front of your eyes, like they will just become like dust. And so imagine the sight of the day of judgment. This is what Mursalat is again and again and again emphasizing. So we have to believe about the day of judgment. It is not like we are just listening and then we are not remembering. So in ayah number 11, and when the messengers are uqitat, means gathered, and when the messengers are gathered to their time appointed. So the first thing that will happen is the messengers will be gathered, and then in ayah number 12, for what day are these signs postponed?
Up to 10, up to 10.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes. Okay. Right. Okay.
This is good to link this week with next week.
Yes. Just a few few things I just want to mention. Between Farzana and Saqib, is that this revelation I found while we were with the messenger of Allah at the cave of Mina. Okay, this Mursalat was revealed to him. He was reciting it, and I was learning it from his mouth. Verily, his mouth was moist when a snake leaped at us. The Prophet said,
Yes.
He quickly went after it, but got away. Then the Prophet said, okay, it was saved from you, your harm, and just as you were saved from its harm.
Yes.
Muslim also recorded the hadith by the way of a match. Very interestingly, Imam recorded Ibn Abbas, who reported from his mother that she heard the Prophet reciting Al-Mursal in the Maghrib prayer just before he died.
Yes. This is the last one Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has read.
This is the story or history behind this particular surah. And second thing is, as you observe overall, when you raise yourself higher, you realize Allah first mentioned, he is swearing. And when Allah swears, we swear on Allah. When he swears on a phenomenon that he has created in life.
Yes.
These things he has mentioned. And then at the end of ayah number 5, ayah number 6 and 7, he keeps on saying, what does he want to tell you? And that's what it is. There is no excuses of warning, and whatever that is promised will come to pass. And that is the message of this whole collection. And then he starts mentioning about what will occur on the day of judgment, which we started. Inshallah, we will finish it next time.
And also it is miraculous because, the snake story that you are telling, Dr. Maruf, that people were saved from the biting of the snake, and the snake was saved from the human beings. So I think in the time of danger, we should read this.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Okay, here is Shakib Bhai.
Now, first of all, I will take up the wisdom in Quran when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swear something, it is that thing is brought as an evidence. So this is an evidence. All these objects here, the wind, the clouds, the stars, the sky, and the mountains are brought to prove the case as an evidence. Now, we have seen throughout whatever surahs we have covered so far, there is one consistent message which has been given to us, and that is, as Dr. Maroof has very rightly pointed out, Innama tu'aduna lawaqi. Whatever has been promised to you is going to take place. And before that, before it takes place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala completes the cycle, the process. Uzran aw nuzur. You are told so that you have no excuse to present that you don't know it. And then those who, this is a warning that it's not a free lunch. You are going to be accountable. Whatever you have been given, you will be held accountable. Innama tu'aduna lawaqi. It will take place. It will happen. It is Allah's promise, and Allah fulfills. No one but Allah fulfills all its promises. Fa'alun lima yurid. He has the power to execute whatever it wants to execute. And before that, all the requirements of justice will be done. And that is, uzran aw nuzur. You will be told that you have no excuse, and you will be warned that what are you going to face. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been using, we have seen in Zariyat, in many other places, constantly Allah is drawing an analogy. And here is the analogy, and it is a very compelling, compounding masterpiece of literature. You know, you and me are not Arabs. Only Arabs can appreciate how pounding in their own language this expression is. You know, like for example, wal mursilate urfan. You know, these are the winds, but these winds are not out of control. They are in a control the way Arab used to control horse by the hair the horse has. So that is urfa. When they control the horse, that those hair of the horse are known as urf. So
Yes.
the winds are not just out of control. They are very much within the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
The way Arab control the horse by their hair. So that is what urfa is. So these expressions are very idiomatic. And of course, by mere learning Arabic, you cannot understand all this. This, you have to have a taste of the language. You have been very, very deep to understand the masterpiece, the master, any language, may it be a Shakespeare, may it be a Persian, may it be a Urdu, the poetry and the idioms and the proverbs and the daily expressions, you know, the folk language. You cannot understand it just by understanding the language. No. So this is a, please always remember that Quran is a masterpiece, and Arabs had no parallel of this, no parallel of this. They also came to know through Quran what their language is all about, because this is an expression by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not by somebody ordinary. So that is why they cannot, they had no answer to what Quran is saying. And of course, Muhammad has lived 40 years among them. He has never used language like this. So that is why this was a miraculous presentation by him. And that is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, can't you see I have lived 40 years among you? Did I ever speak a language like this? How come it is coming all of a sudden to me? It never happened. It doesn't happen. If you are a poet, you are a poet by from the very start. If you are a literary person, you are a literary person from the very start. It's not a switch on, switch off thing that overnight you become a very literary. So all these, if I go into this, this is a lot of detail. I can't afford to have that detail. But I just wanted to tell you, now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is drawing an analogy to make us, to make humans of, there are people who can understand something if you just point it out. But there are thick people, they cannot understand unless you jolt them and you just, you have to have a compelling, compounding language to wake them up, to shake them up. And this is what that language is. Wal mursilati urfa, wal asifati asfa, wal nashirati nashra. Look at its impact. Even if you don't know the language, look at the sounds, the mere music of it. My God, it is so compelling, it's so compounding, it's so pounding, it's so affirmative. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now is taking a wind and telling and drawing the analogy of a wind, and it has been used throughout Quran. First of all, it signifies that you see sky and you see earth. They look very different, but when it comes to the wind, they are all the same. You cannot see where is this coming from. Is it coming from the sky or is it coming from the earth? And where is this coming from? It's coming from everywhere. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this wind is an example that we control it. When it flows, it is controlled. But asfa, then we just let it go, and then it's a tsunami. Same wind is a tsunami. It brings havoc. Oh my God, everything goes up in the air, and that's our wind. So if we can cause this, why can't we cause something else? This is right in front of you many times in your life. You see it yourself. Same wind, which is the breeze, which you cannot live without breathing, when it becomes a tsunami and it takes everything away. And then same wind, when it's being one nashirat and nashran, what it does, then it takes clouds with it. And what happens with the clouds? It's not just the clouds, it's taking it away and they are raining. No, again there is someone in control. Wherever he wants, that rain rains. And if he doesn't want, he differentiates where it has to rain, where it doesn't have to rain. So it's the same wind who is driving them, these clouds, where they are going to rain. And it is the same wind which is driving them away so that they are not going to rain. So this is differentiated. Someone is behind who is controlling this. So if we can control wind from behind, why can't we control everything that we are telling you that we are going to do it? Innama latu'aduna waqi. That will happen. It will take place. And it will take place in our own terms, the way wind takes place. Now, look at the rain. The same rain, it could be a blessing if it is in due proportion. But if the same becomes a tsunami, a flood, and it takes everything away if we wanted to make it happen that way, right? It can be a blessing, but at the same time, it can be a curse. So that is up to us. So through these forces of nature, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that I am in control. Don't forget about it. and I make it happen right in front of you many times in your life. So why can't I do it when I want to do it? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you know, these, you see that the stars, the sky, these mountains, oh, they are so established. They are so firm. They are so, we are going to cause them. What? Why the nujumu tummisat? They will just be extinguished. Power off. Finish. Gone. You won't see them again. They're gone. Why the samao furajat? And the sky will fall apart. Which you see, it's very strong and very thing. It will just fall apart. And waizal jibalu nusifat. And these mountains that you see around you, you know, for you and me, it is not that important. As important when you go to Makkah, everywhere you have a mountain, and those mountains are not like mountains here, which are of dust and soil. These are the mountains which are stone and which are iron. They are so hard you cannot climb them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they will be just into pieces up in the air. And we see here when tsunami comes, what happens to all this? And they just turn into, and when the larvas move, and when they erupt, and look at what happens to the entire mountain. They just start flowing like a water. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing all these evidences, very hard evidences. If you want seeing is believing, this is what is happening right in front of your eyes. And this is the evidence that day, which has been innama tu'aduna lawaqi, that will happen. What we are saying to you, that it will happen after your death. Once you're gone, you will come across with all these facts, because this is our promise. And this is, we will not be doing then. We are doing it now, right in front of you. Thank you very much. And this is the context, and this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings these pieces of evidence for us and draws analogy for us to heed, to take warning, and not to take it as a joke. It's not a free lunch, and it is not purposeless and meaningless. It has a purpose, it has a meaning, and we are on our way to our destiny. There, either we are going to suffer or we are going to be rewarded, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One other reminder is that we are reading these surahs in the reverse order. So what is happening next is an ayah we already read. So it's a very interesting feature which gives us a little bit more orientation, a little bit more thoroughness in learning these things. Jazakallah khair, everyone. We will meet next.
Dua.
Hello?
Dua. First we will do dua, then you will announce.
Dua, yes. I just wanted to mention about next Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. From next Saturday onwards, it will be Saturday. And definitely sorry about this week that I delayed it to Monday, because unfortunately I was not able to come up on time on Saturday. Okay.
How are you, Dr. Maruf, feeling? How are you feeling now?
Alhamdulillah, I'm a little better, definitely better. Alhamdulillah. Okay, let's have Sister Farzana.
Okay, all right. Okay, so dua, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. There is none worthy of worship but Allah, the one, the victorious. O Allah, we submit our souls unto you, and we entrust all our affairs unto you, and we turn our faces towards you, and we totally rely on you in hope and fear of you. Verily, there is neither refuge nor safe haven from you except with you. We believe in your book, which you have revealed, and in your Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whom you have sent. O Allah, you are alive and everlasting. Sleep does not overcome you ever. O the forever living and everlasting one, make our nights tranquil and give our eyes sleep. O Allah, protect us from your punishment on the day your servants are resurrected. In your name, O Allah, we live and die. In your name, Ya Rab, we lie down and we rise. So if you should take our soul, then have mercy on our souls. And if you should return our souls, then protect our souls in the manner you do so with your righteous slaves. Ya Rab, we are truly in desperate need of whatever good you may have in store for us. Ameen. And okay, I want to mention a little bit about Amjad, because we are like a family in this Quran class. Amjad hasn't got any money at all. What can we do for him? All of us, because he owes so much money to everyone that nobody's even giving him credit from any.